Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming technology. This is episode 215 on December 30th, 2020. I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Michael Aston.
Howdy, everybody.
Matthew Ross.
Hey, everybody.
And Jimmy Trammell.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
It's really hard. I've gotten so used to saying your guys' names in a specific order because you typically join in a specific order.
Sorry, it was a little late
today. Jimmy was here with us sort of last week, but then it turned out to be Michael Aston. So.
Yeah, I know. You were here in spirit.
Jimmy, you're back. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I had go into the hospital to take care of a little old man stuff, but hey, I survived, and glad to be back here with you guys.
Yeah, glad to have you back. Just in time for the last regular show of the year.
What? The year's ending already?
I know. Oh. You know, my dad pointed something out. In a couple days, it will never have been so true.
Hindsight is 2020.
But hindsight is 2020.
I'm forever going to call the year 2020 hindsight.
Yeah.
Just
it
that.
Is. That's what it says. Hindsight equals 2020, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to start writing things down, and when I write it down, I'm going to write down hindsight.
If you look up the word hindsight in the dictionary, it just says 2020.
Also, if you look up redundant in the dictionary, it says see redundant. I've never I love that joke. I don't know why. It's hilarious. It perfectly describes the word in so many ways. It's such a wonderful way of doing that. Hey, how you doing, guys? You've been busy? You've been doing work? You've been...
I am officially done with work for the year. I refuse to go back to work this year.
I might be going back to work. I don't know. Yeah, I'm updating a phone system, and but the upgrade, I can't directly upgrade from the old system to the new system. I'm 2 generations back, so I've given my configuration file to the devs, and the devs are like, "Yeah, we have to do this like step-by-step upgrade process. We might get your upgraded configuration back to you this week or next week." It's like, great. So unless that happens, I won't be going back because there's nothing to do.
Yeah, hopefully you're free tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Oh, I will be free tomorrow.
Because we will be participating in that streamathon, raising money for Extra Life.
Nice.
Yes. We'll talk more about that later.
Okay.
Right now, we should probably get into the stuff we're actually here to talk about.
This week's news is a little different. It's less filled with, actual technology stuff and a little bit more like content stuff. It's the end of the year, so this is the kind of bottom of the barrel we had to scrape. So it's all right. It's pretty good stuff.
Everybody, this is the point in the year where everybody goes quiet because, CES is just like a week away.
And everybody's on holiday, of course. But so last week we talked briefly about a AI which was making an infinite song on a bass solo. That's right. Well, in a similar vein, 21 Pilots recently started a infinite music video. They worked on making it so it would run their song called Level of Concern with a constantly updating video of nothing. They literally user submitted videos being put onto it. They were apparently screened for the song, for the video content being appropriate, and then being stitched together every minute or so. So this video was constantly being run with a new long music video, and they were planning on running it forever apparently. But according to one of the guys, one of the band members, Josh, accidentally pulled the cord, which ended the video early. And so the Guinness Book of Records has recognized them as having the longest music video of all times. 170, how many days? 178.
178.
I don't believe that, because I'm pretty sure that MTV played that Thriller video nonstop for like 4 years.
So it's funny because the previous record holder was 24 hours and they went 178 days. And then I like that he accidentally pulled the plug. The drummer for the band.
Now, the previous one was Pharrell's Happy. Now, if Pharrell was actually singing that song for the full 24 hours,
absolutely,
versus what they apparently did here, which is kind of like some AI to keep the song looping and keep adding video to it. I actually feel like we need to preserve Pharrell's actual longest music video, if that's what he did. So
see, and that's the thing.
It was just the music video. It wasn't him actually live streaming it or anything.
You see, that's what I'm asking. Who's the guy who actually had the longest video you actually put on there and singing a song? Even if you had like part of the music where you went ahead and let it have a little interstitial to like little drum solo. Said, well, somebody goes runs off the restroom and takes a bite out of a sandwich or something.
Well, that's why solos and breakdowns and bridges are there. Is so that people can step away.
Smoke break. All right, I gotcha. But I want to know who's the longest to actually do it like that. The longest real live video. How long could they do it? And 24 hours makes sense. I mean, after that, you're probably exhausted. So
yeah, I mean, the thing that's interesting with this, I would first of all to comment on that, like it would, for one person to actually sing that long, it would be virtually impossible. I'd be very impressed if anybody could hold out their vocal cords that long, unless it was a really simple song that was really flat. Like your vocal cords, you'd lose your voice before then. I think most people would. But I think this is interesting because it's like a single video running continuously, but it's really not, because it's fan submissions for videos. It's not contiguous or anything like that. Pharrell's is very different because it was actually like, if you've seen the music video for it, it's a bunch of performers dancing and stuff, and they're hired performers. They actually had 400 different performers with celebrities and stuff doing the performance for 24 hours and put it together as an actual thing. Like when you do a filming of a movie, you have hundreds of hours of video footage that gets cut. And so what they basically did is they actually took all that footage and put it together. So it's a little different. Pharrell's is more an actual music video, but it was the same song looping for 24 hours, just like this. And I got to be honest, I haven't heard reasons for concern. At least I don't think I have. But if just the fact that Happy played for 24 hours straight kind of makes me think that somebody somewhere like pierced their ears with scissors or something just so that they could stop hearing it. Like the guy in the room next, like in the hospital bed next to the patient that decided to listen to that music video for 24 hours. That guy definitely, like, they didn't know what happened, but he poked his ears out. He was in a coma, woke up long enough to poke out his ears, and it was over.
All right. Well, at least it wasn't someone like Daft Punk.
But I love Daft Punk.
I know, but I don't want to talk bad about them is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, they could definitely do one of their songs that lasts forever, because their loops are 4 seconds long and they just keep going and going and going around the world, literally.
Yeah.
But Daft Punk, I got a big surprise this week. Daft Punk dropped a updated version of their Tron Legacy score with some bonus tracks, including some works that were some remixes with some other people. This is the kind of thing that I was just, I just saw this in the news and immediately just went, okay, turn it on. Let's just listen to it. And I would very much enjoyed listening to this at work while all by myself at work this week. It was just it's basically a bunch of the various remixes that they put with the Tron Legacy, and all of the various ones that were available in little like specials and on B-sides and things like that. And they just put them in there.
Yeah, so. I got a notification from Spotify about this a while back, but I haven't had a chance to listen to it. I will say that is one of my favorite Daft Punk albums. I own it, and I've listened through it many times. It's great.
It's in my work mix of music that I listened to already before this. It was just like, oh yeah, it's just when one of these comes on, it's a good song to working. But that's me. I can't listen to music with words and work at the same time. I have to keep singing to it. So I love this stuff. So
yeah, I think I haven't listened to this album before, but just listening to a few seconds while you were talking, I'm like, yeah, I probably ought to add this to my like developing list, like songs I listen to while I'm coding, because I think that's right up that kind of alley. I generally can listen to words with music, but it depends on how hard the stuff I'm working on is. If it's really complex, then I needed it to not have lyrics, because I do tend to sing along, and there's a certain level of complexity where you can't manage to keep things straight and sing along to music effectively. At least I can't. So I think that's pretty cool. Also, the fact that this is on Disney Plus, I wasn't aware of that. I may have to check it out, the Tron Legacy movie.
Have you not seen it?
I haven't seen it, no. I saw the original Tron a long time ago and quite enjoyed it, but haven't watched any of the...
I absolutely loved Tron Legacy, and that's part of the reason that so many people consider it a flop.
Good job, Clyde.
I paid extra money to go see it at the real IMAX screen at the zoo, and it was totally worth it.
I saw it in the theaters in 3D.
Oh, cool.
And visually, it's an amazing film. Absolutely.
I concur with that, and Mike, I too have some of these tracks in a playlist that I call patching, right? when I'm patching on weekends, right? So, I'm with all you guys on this. Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie as well.
So Michael calls it coding, yeah, or developing. What did you call it?
I think I said coding.
Coding. Yeah. Jimmy, you call it patching. Clyde, do you have a name for that kind of music?
Driving.
Mine's called aerodynamic, because that's what I based the music station off of, that song from Daft Punk.
Nice.
So yes, that's my music station, and I love it for that. Here's the one that's near and dear to Clyde's heart: Microsoft Flight Simulator. It has been updated to now have support for VR helmets. That's right. You are now able to go out into your Cessna and fly over the world, and then be able to do that from within the view of being actually in the plane, by putting on some nice VR helmet and having that wonderful experience. So you can feel like you're flying and about to fall out of your airplane, but if you lean over too much.
This is literally what I have been waiting for. I stopped playing the game back in September when beta pricing for Microsoft streaming whatever went up to normal. And I said nope, because I wasn't playing it enough. I was just waiting, and I've been waiting for the right game to justify spending the money on a VR headset. Which, as I said before the show, I am now ready to pre-order my HP new headset.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, so Microsoft Flight Simulator is a huge game.
Mm-hmm.
And takes a pretty beefy hardware.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, this is the exact game I want to have on a streaming service. I don't want to have necessarily that kind of hardware. I don't necessarily want to have that huge of a download. This game seems perfect to me to be on something like Xbox Cloud or Stadia or whatever. And so
potentially, but not if you're trying to do it VR.
No, but I was going to say eventually they'll be able to do this over VR.
Yes, eventually. Right now, no, because the minor hiccups and quality,
that's true.
Stability issues that I don't really notice when using Stadia would be
and any latency at all would really screw with your brain. It would
That's
be...
what I'm saying. So
yeah.
I'd try it.
I need to reach out to those guys we met in Vegas last year and get plans for their simulator tower rig thing that we got to fly in and build my own. Mike is frozen, so
yeah.
I was talking to him specifically, and he's no longer there.
There he's there.
I'm back.
Okay. No, I was saying I need to reach out to those guys we met at CES last year from Vegas with cool flight simulators.
That rig?
I gotta build one of those in my garage.
Yeah, the 6 Degrees of Freedom.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be super sweet. I actually, this is something I've been watching for because I was thinking about getting Microsoft Flight Sim. They initially announced that they were going to be compatible with Reverb G2.
Mm-hmm.
But now that they're adding other VR headsets, it seems like something that I might have to check. Obviously, this article says there were, at the time of the writing, still a lot of bugs, and this person wasn't able to get it fully functional in the Quest, and so he decided to just switch back to his Reverb. But I have the Oculus Rift. I think that's, if I can get it to work on that, I'm probably gonna pick that up. I have a HOTAS that I can use, so I'm very interested in it. I will probably pick this game up sometime after the new year when I,
Yep. See, and
that time comes that I actually have time to play games again.
And that was one reason that I waited to get the Reverb G2 was because it started shipping back in November.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still technically pre-order. So I figured if, VR is available now, it's going to be a while before they get the bugs out of it. If I pre-order it now, it's going to be a while before I get the headset. So I got to wait for one, may as well wait for the other, right?
Isn't the Reverb like $1,000 though?
No, 600.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's 600, has the 2 controllers and it's mixed reality, and then it has the sensors built into it. It's essentially a HP version of the Valve Index, because they worked with Valve to design it, but it's a Microsoft mixed reality, so that's why they had announced back in the early days that it would work on that first, because they were, it's built to their specs, so they were able to build that into the game from the get-go. And that's what they've been testing with. I from what I've read about this, though, the downside is they're working with a company that, while it has some experience with VR, their credits are for like museum exhibits, not like real life video game stuff.
You got to start somewhere.
No, exactly. But So a lot of the bugs and glitchiness that have been experienced is attributed to the fledgling company, as opposed to going with someone that has a lot of experience in this specific medium.
Right.
But that's not to say it's gonna be bad. I'm looking forward to this because the 10-year-old Microsoft Flight Simulator was great in VR. This can only be better.
Well, if you ask me, this is the third killer app for VR.
Mm-hmm.
First was Beat Saber. Second was Valve's Half-Life.
Alex. Yep.
Alex. And now we have this in VR. These are the three premium things that you would want to do in a VR platform. Now that we have three, I don't know. I mean, I'll keep an eye out on what becomes available for the kind of price that I'd want to spend on it. But we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
one step at a time here.
I've mostly just played Beat Saber on mine. I got to be honest. I got it for Star Wars Squadrons,
and then you got sick.
And it doesn't make me sick until I've played it for about 30 minutes or so.
Only 30 minutes.
Okay.
But I mean, the thing is that it's just a time thing. Honestly, I just getting my desk set up, and because I don't have a dedicated station, it's working from home. I've got to move my work keyboard and stuff, and so it's just enough of a barrier that I don't do it, and instead I just play Beat Saber, and but that's great because Beat Saber is like comparable to like using an elliptical machine or something like that for a workout. So it's fun and healthy for you. I mean, I gotta say, like, Beat Saber alone is totally worth getting a VR setup. Star Wars Squadrons is outstanding. If you don't get motion sick when you're playing video games, I mean, I don't get motion sick from anything. So the fact that it makes me motion sick is probably a little bit of a
probably a bad sign.
Anybody that gets motion sick at all, this is probably not a good idea. But yeah, I agree. Beat Saber, and then this is really the icing on the cake, right? Because this is like one of the biggest games in gaming for like 20 years or so.
Yeah.
Probably more than that. I mean,
more than that.
Flight Simulator 98, that was the first like really huge version.
No, that was just like, no, that was like version 5.
Was it? I just remember that was the first one I remember my friend having and playing.
I remember playing Flight Simulator, the original version on like ancient Hercules monitors.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, it's been around a long time and it's a stalwart. So,
just curious.
I would say when Microsoft Flight Simulator
82.
Okay. Wow. When Flight Simulator X came out, people would say, "Can your computer run it?" And the answer was, "Nope."
Nope.
But I can play Crysis.
Yeah.
Hey, there's that guy who does the funny Flight Simulator. Does he done anything in the new Flight Simulator?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Lots
I'm
of
just
stuff.
curious. I'll have to go look him up.
Yeah, it's Air Force Proud.
That's right.
Whatever, I can't remember the number, but yeah.
All right. So next, I'll look him up later. Next thing we wanted to announce here was HBO Max is getting some more content very soon. If you are a fan of Batman the animated series, not the Batman the animated series, that's a different thing. The original Batman the animated series, it is going to be available as of January 1st. That's right. In just a few days, you'll be able to stream the entire series on the platform, and you'll also be able to get the probably underrated Batman Beyond as well.
Oh, I love Batman Beyond. Maybe that's why it's underrated.
It's underrated. It's just most people don't know much about it. I've seen maybe 4 or 5 episodes of Batman Beyond, and it was good.
I would say that was probably my favorite Batman my favorite non-Adam West Batman was Batman Beyond. So is this the 92 drawn on black paper Batman?
Yeah.
Good. I think so.
I think okay. I enjoyed this.
Yeah. This was 92 to 95.
Yep.
Okay. That was that was the one I watched as a kid when I was
this is the one that I only caught an episode here and there because I was in high school. I had better things to do.
All I remember is was Clayface was introduced in this series, and he's just an absolute beast.
Wait, he's not from the character or from the comics?
Maybe he might be, but this first time I think
first series that featured him. I will say he was one of my favorite characters in Harley Quinn.
This is in my opinion, Mark Hamill's second best performance. Some people will claim his best performance. He was the Joker in the series, at least for the first 3 or so years, and did a really great job. I haven't seen most of the episodes, but I have seen a few, and they're actually very good, and quite enjoyed it.
So let me guess, and I can't think of the name, but so his best performance was the one where he bought the Corvette from the junkyard, and then he gets robbed and hooks up with a hooker. Oh, Corvette Summer. That was his greatest.
Corvette Summer.
Yeah. Jimmy, you remember that movie?
I do remember that movie, yes.
Yeah.
He was the main character in Wing Commander. That's his best movie, right?
No. Wing Commander was all about Matthew, or was it Matthew Lillard or the other guy from Scream?
Freddie Prinze
Freddie
Jr.?
Prinze. Yes. It was all about Freddie Prinze.
That's right. That's the one.
Wing Commander, yeah, that was actually really good too, though. I do get to give you that. I put that as his number 3.
What?
You know, in the same article here, what kind of piqued my interest a little bit too is there toward the end of it, where it's talking about the season 1 of Snowpiercer. I've not seen that yet, but I heard a lot of good things about it. So I think I might have to give that one a try.
Yeah, give it a try. Wabbit really likes it. We can talk about it in the post show. I had very very strong feelings, but we'll talk about that later. HBO Max. So HBO Max has become the place for DC. So
yes, it has.
Yep, which is good.
All right. Well, we had a wonderful video being told to us by a very high standing figure in society today. That's right. Deepfake Queen Elizabeth II. That's right. The deepfake version of Queen Elizabeth II provided a wonderful video where she told us all about how important we were, how big of a year this year was, and how we will carry on after all this.
Why do you say deepfake? I saw that. That was the Queen.
Yes,
you're talking about the royal address. What?
No.
Yeah.
Not the official one.
It was.
It sure looked official. No, even she herself addresses the fact that the video that this person is in fact deepfaked, where she has some of the greatest
you would
jokes.
Say when you're trying to cover something up,
and
I don't believe it.
She dances and she flies in the air, and I've only seen bits of this thing, but yes, this great video is literally the Queen making sure we know how important it is to know that we are aware of deepfakes, and by doing so, it's being done as a deepfake as the Queen. It is wonderful. It is hilarious. Greatest joke of this is the year where we figured out how important toilet paper was, and how hard it is to deal with things on the throne, and those wonderful horrible jokes.
So just a reminder, this is from Sassy Justice, which is the South Park boys, their deepfake studio. This is what they've been doing. They've been putting out the weekly or monthly Sassy Justice, and then they did the Queen. So,
I mean, I think it's interesting. These things are fun to watch and do. When you watch this, it does give you a little bit of a feel for how far we've come with technologies to fake real people, and at the same time, it's still blatantly obvious that this is not her.
Oh no, I have to disagree. There are videos on YouTube of the movie Rogue Squadron. Famously, Rogue Squadron has Admiral Tarkin and Princess Leia Organa as computerized versions of them in the movie. The
You're
deep fake put
Rogue One, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. They defake those videos and put the actual actors on their face on the computer generated faces, and they look so much better. So, no, this has gotten so good that I bet you we're gonna be seeing. I bet you we've already seen some deepfake stuff and we haven't known it yet.
Well, I mean, it kind of reminds me, takes me back to the 2016 Olympics, when it was in London. And they did that bit, in the opening ceremony there of the games. And they had that bit where it was James Bond 007 and the Queen jumping out of the plane.
It was actually her, right?
Of course.
That was a good
Everybody
bit.
knows
I
the
really
Queen
enjoyed
does
that.
her own stunts.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, all right. So Warner Brothers made an announcement that last year they made an announcement that this year, the year of 2021, the one we're about to get into, all of their movies that they were going to release in theaters at the same time, they're going to have them release in on HBO Max at the same time. This is old news now. The new news is that the year of 2023, they are going to be taking all their movies back offline.
How dare they?
I know. It's basically gives them all of 2021's will be in this simultaneously day and date. The year 2022 gives them some wiggle room to decide what they want to do, and by 2023 they've announced that at least a few of their movies are guaranteed to be coming to theaters first.
So the real news is that they're gonna be released on HBO Max for 2 years, because initially when they announced it, it seemed like, okay, well, just for this year, and then next year we'll go back, so, but now they said, oh, no, in 2023 they're going to be in theaters first. That's just that's covering up the fact that, yep, we're going to do them same day and date on HBO Max for 2 years.
Well, my comment on that is good luck, right? Because I think after 2 years of people being used to getting the movies a little bit faster, I mean, once you let that genie out of the bottle,
yes,
it's going to be hard to put it back.
So
yeah, go back to the theaters and good luck with that. We'll see how that works out.
Exactly, especially since, when they first announced that they were going to do day and date on HBO Max, I assumed that they were doing like Disney, and you could watch it on HBO Max, but it was going to cost you a premium.
Right.
Right?
When I asked that question, is that going to be how it is or not? And we didn't know.
And and apparently no, which then makes me go, well, if you're just putting them out on HBO Max, then why would anybody go to the theater? Because before, when it's an option, I've got to pay $30 either way. You've got a choice. So I now, because before I thought, oh, that's smart. But if you're just putting them out on the, as part of the normal subscription, yeah, I don't know how that business model works. That sounds very Movie Pass to me.
So when they go back to the theaters, are they going to make it cost the same as well?
I don't know. All I know is now that I know that they're not charging a premium to watch it early, day and date, that is literally a middle finger to the theaters.
Right.
Before it was, hey, we're looking out for our interests. Nope. Now that I don't know, they're not getting anything out of it. No, there's nothing other than that.
No. So it's still not a middle finger to the theaters for one reason. They're getting movies.
They
You're
are.
just gonna have
Yeah.
you're sorry, theaters. You've been complaining you didn't have any movies. That's why you don't have any. You're getting movies. You're getting these movies this year. Sure they can watch them at home if they want. That's up to them. But you've got movies, and the people who want to go see it in the theaters, they can. So they've got movies. That's really the thing that they needed more than anything else. So it's not
Yeah.
quite a middle finger.
Well,
but that being said,
it is.
Yeah,
in the
I'm not
fact
going.
That, it is in the fact that if they were charging specific prices for those movies, then they could justify this
Right.
is a business expense. We're doing this because we need to make the revenue that you're not going to get
Right.
when you're in the theater. If they're not doing that, then it's nothing more than, nope, my ball. You can play with it sometimes, but nope, it's just going to sit here in my house.
Yeah,
I'm going to look at it.
Yeah, well,
So but that's what I was saying is I'm not complaining, because there was no way I was going to pay for, most of these movies coming out.
right.
But now that they are just going to be there,
Now you're gonna watch them.
probably. I almost watched the Wonder Woman movie, but then I remembered how much I absolutely hate Wonder Woman, and went, oh yeah, no.
Yeah, well, you never know.
I mean, the thing that I'm kind of with Jimmy on this, and I guess, or Matt, right? That are the theaters even going to exist after 2 years? I think this sets up for some really big changes in the industry, and looking at what could possibly make sense for them from a financial perspective. Like right now, companies like AMC and Cinemark and stuff, they're offering movie screenings at $100 to $150 for a private theater screening. This kind of thing, I think, is the future for these theaters, right? And the reason I say that is because if I can watch it day and day for release at home, then the only incentive for me to go to a theater is the bigger screen and the music. But when I'm taking the compromise of having to sit next to some obnoxious person that's going to spill popcorn on me and have,
or maybe
like
give
that,
you a virus,
or get you sick, or not being able to pause when you go to the bathroom or whatever, all of those things are challenges that the movie theater has to overcome. And if all you're able to offer in exchange is a bigger screen and a bigger theater and better surround sound, then it quickly becomes a financial incentive for a person to just spend a little more on their TV, a little more on their surround sound. Because if you go to a movie a month, you can buy yourself a pretty nice TV if you're taking your family, especially.
Mhm.
That said, if what they offer is the opportunity to go hang out with your friends and eat some good food and good popcorn and stuff like that, and yeah, you still can't pause it, but if you know everybody in the theater, I think that's an incentive to go. And having done one of these private movie screenings, I found it super enjoyable, and it was a really great experience. The thing for me is, can they make enough money at 100 to 150 a show? Probably not, right? Like, because unless they were selling out all of the showings every day, that's not going to make enough to get them by. So it's like, where does that dollar point break where it begins to make sense for them to put a better setup that's for a smaller group of people that rent out the whole theater and see the movie they want with their friends, and yet the company still makes money, so affordable enough for the viewers, and yet still getting that private experience and make money for the theater. I think that's my theory of where the future is going.
I have a prediction. because history always repeats itself. We've been through a cycle like this with the theaters before. Back in the 40s and 50s, with the advent of TV, when the theaters are like, you can't watch TV. It's going to destroy the movie theaters. And a lot of movie theaters went out of business. Do you know what happened to those movie theaters? Primarily in New York and California, they all started showing porn. Right? And that's how they operated up through the 70s until finally going out in the 80s. My prediction is, since history repeats itself, the show Brockmire predicted it correctly. In 5 years, all of the movie theaters will become VR masturbatoriums. In the show, it was Mr. Megorium's Masturbatorium. I can't even say it. If you haven't watched that show, you need to. But I mean, you do what you got to do to draw a crowd, and people always go to what works. All right, what's next?
Goodness gracious!
Yeah.
Hey, so there's a guy here. He decided he wanted to do, I guess, a personal challenge. He's got a video you can watch on YouTube of his brand new, amazing little device. I believe it runs on a USB on a Raspberry Pi that will read a floppy disk, and on that floppy disk is a movie. That's right. He's been able to compress the entire movie of Shrek, the masterpiece of Shrek, onto a 1.44 megabyte. Actually, it says it's a Mac floppy, so maybe it's got a different format to it. Floppy disk, and is able to get it compressed to a whopping high resolution of what was that resolution of 120 times 96 pixels and a silky smooth 4 frames per second.
I have a question.
I have a question too. You first.
What is a floppy? Is that like a mini disc?
It's older than a mini disc.
Jazz? Was that Jazz?
No, think before Jazz. Zip drive. You've heard of those?
I got zip files.
No, zip drive from my Omega. The Jazz drive was like a bigger version of that. They had the smaller Jazz drive.
No. You're thinking of an 8-track that just plays the audio.
No. I'm not thinking that either. No. So
I all I gotta ask is why, but I mean that in itself is the answer. Why? Because
yeah, it's rather ingenious. He came up with a goal of making this VCR device out of a floppy disk player and a Raspberry Pi, and it's pretty impressive that he managed to do it.
Does it convert the graphics into like ASCII art?
I mean, it's not that bad, but it's pretty awful. And the audio takes a pretty dramatic hit as well. I mean, you can imagine what he had to shrink the audio down to. But you can watch what it looks like on YouTube.
So I call BS. My BS meter is like way up here right now, because just compressing 90 minutes worth of audio has got to, I don't care how well you compress it, if it's going to be something you can understand, which if you watch the video, it's just a little bit, you can understand the audio coming out of that is going to take up over a meg itself. So I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. I don't care how good your X.265 encoding skills are. There is no way that this is real. I call BS. This smells like, it sounds like I smell a rat.
Maybe you could sell this to the porn industry, huh?
All I know is that floppy disk is terrifying, and it's going to haunt my dreams forever.
I think what I would say is I do think he's accomplished it, and I can see the thing is you're not realizing just how much difference the scaling makes on these things. 120 by 96 pixels is absolutely minuscule, and the audio is probably running at like 50 kilobits per second.
What was the level of audio that the Atari had?
I don't know.
It's below that, I would guess.
It's probably comparable to that. Is what I would say.
Okay, so if it's 50 kilobits per second and it's 90 minutes, then it's that's 270K just for the audio, which means he's got, if it's a 1.44, he's got 1.2 megs for the video. I doubt it. And 50 kilobits per second.
120 by 96 at 4 frames per second, that's going to be way smaller than a mega.
Okay, I still call BS. I want to be able to download and do this myself.
Okay, we need to go. Somebody go out and torrent him a copy of it, so that he can put it on a floppy and do it himself.
Yep. Please, I'll find a floppy drive.
Well, the thing is how far would you get, and even if you wanted to watch this, how far would you get in the movie before you say, what the heck am I doing? I'm wasting time here.
Convenience trumps fidelity. Come on.
The thing is, it's way less convenient too.
Now,
like, this is purely some, bored IT dude that just was like, I don't know what to do this weekend. Why don't I see if I can figure out how to make this work?
Oh, no. I understand.
This is a byproduct of COVID-19.
I understand.
Exactly.
I'm the guy who said, hey, let's take the movie The Matrix and then let's re-encode it using AALib, which is the ASCII art library, so I could see it in The Matrix. It's great. All right.
I'm not confident. I smell some sort of a con. He's going to start offering these to people, and they're going to play it, and it's going to they're going to get rickrolled, or it's going to be like that scary Shrek hentai that I assume is out there. Or what was, I was going to say, or it installs malware that steals your children's souls,
or it'll be Shrek 3,
or which is even worse.
Or what was it on Silicon Valley? What was
Raiders?
You're right.
Yeah, no smart appliances in my house. No, thank you. All right.
Here's a story. I really don't know much about this company. Amazon has purchased the podcast network called Wondery. Wondery is a apparently really well-to-do podcast company. It's got some pretty popular podcasts, shows like Blood Ties and Dying for Sex. I don't know anything about these guys, but this is them picking up this competing podcast company, much like Spotify when they picked up Gimlet Media a year ago. So are we going to be getting our podcasts segregated into the different platforms where we will not be able to listen to our shows without
it's
subscribing to the platform?
It's going to be a lot like YouTube and Twitch, where when you become a partner on Twitch, they can dictate how and when you share it outside of Twitch. So I wouldn't be surprised. Will it be completely walled off? No, I doubt it. Because, users, the fan base, you can't risk. Amazon isn't dumb enough to alienate an entire fan base. That's more of an Apple kind of move. But while Apple would be banking on them already being on the ecosystem. But no, I think you'll probably end up seeing, if you don't go through Amazon to get it, there may be delays, like maybe up to a week or so. Just like a lot of places do with Patreon, or Twitch to YouTube. Yeah. But right now, podcast is the hot medium that everybody's trying to get a piece of. They moved through everything else. I'm not surprised.
Oh well. Hey, Peloton, that's that platform where you can work out, usually on a bike, usually one of their very expensive bikes, and subscribe to their platform where you can work out to some people. And they've got a bunch of different music on there as well. And just because it was an interesting story for the week, if you're a big fan of Elvis, we have 3 new Elvis remixes done by some people for you to listen to while you move to the sounds of the king. That's the songs in particular will be, well, let's see, they are Do the Vega, Catching On Fast, and Clean Up Your Own Backyard. I don't know if this is the kind of music that would make you want to move your groove, but Peloton thinks it is. So if there are a couple of different workout platforms out there right now, the 2 big ones are the Peloton one and actually the Apple.
I get that. I'm trying to figure out, does Elvis make sense when I'm working out on a bicycle?
Young Elvis probably, but not old Elvis. I don't know. Also, these are remixes. These are DJs.
I understand, but yeah, Elvis doesn't make me go, man, I just want to get going. Push harder.
For some people it does. So we never know. All right. Google is experimenting with the option for in its various searches to more easily surface TikTok videos and Instagram videos in the search. That means that if you are searching for certain clips, that they are now going to start showing up in your search results from those 2 platforms. This is one of those things where this hasn't already been a thing. I'm surprised, but
I really hate when they manipulate and force things to surface. It's already bad enough that almost all of my searches are irrelevant because it's all Pinterest links, which I am not signing up for Pinterest, so therefore I can't look at the links. No, Google used to have the high road of, we don't manipulate, we don't get involved. Search is search, but the more they do this, the more they manipulate, the more search isn't just search.
I bet you anything. This also has something to do with their troubles with the government and their fights to not be broken up. So that there are probably people saying, when I search for this and I know this thing is on Instagram and it doesn't show up, it shows up this YouTube thing instead. And so it's going to be they're going to have some of that. So you're going to have some adjustments where they're going to try to make sure all the platforms.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Instagram and TikTok shouldn't show up absolutely it should show up in the search if the search is relevant. But manipulating it to force them to the surface is where I have a problem.
Right. And I bet you anything they're not going to be forcing, or maybe they are.
That's what it sounds like.
If I know how Google has worked up until this point, they're not going to force it. They're going to just make it a little bit easier for those things to show up.
It specifically says they're experimenting with surfacing it so that you don't have to hunt for it. They're finding ways to make it come to the top to be easily more readily accessible. And if that just means that if they were to do that by toning down the level of push on the YouTube videos, I'd be okay with that. Because a lot of times if I look for a topic, it's all YouTube, and I don't want YouTube. I'm looking for a document or a manual. I don't need some idiot that doesn't know what the hell they're talking about explaining the thing they don't understand. If I wanted that, I'd go watch one of my own videos on YouTube. So
Man, I got to give this TikTok a try. I've never even seen a TikTok video.
All right. So ESPN Plus is their streaming of the various properties available for you. It went about this summer. They actually increased the price from $4.99 a month to $5.99 a month. They just announced that they are also going to be increasing the price if you want to buy it yearly. Used to cost $49.99. And as of March 2nd, it's going to be $59.99. If you're currently subscribed to it, you can renew for the $50 price right now for another year. But they're letting you know a couple months ahead of time. You're going to have to
so
buckle up for an extra month.
Just a few weeks ago, they were complaining that not enough people are subscribing to ESPN Plus. So are they raising the price to get those 5 remaining people to quit?
It's that weird thing where if it costs more, it's more valuable, and so you'll think it's worth it. Apple does this really well. Where they say, yes, you can buy the $300 smartphone if you want, but then again, you could buy the $1,000 smartphone. It's better.
Yeah, you could get a $20 thing to make your bike into your nice bike into a stationary bike, but for $3,000, we can get you a Peloton. I'm not even done. It doesn't end there. There's also a monthly subscription of like $100. Isn't that awesome?
I mean, even ice cream does it. Haagen-Dazs sounds fancy, but it's just ice cream, guys.
Oh yeah, it's like you pay, if you pay more for a Mercedes and a BMW, you also get to pay more for repairs and more often. Doesn't that sound like a great deal?
Well, to some people that works.
Exactly.
I don't know if that's. I doubt that's actually what's happening here.
I should have said Ferrari or Lamborghini.
Yeah,
that's
fine.
But still.
All right. Last story I have is LG. LG's got their getting ready for CES this year. That's right. CES is supposedly happening.
I'll be there.
I know you guys might be there. It sounds great. And so
sure.
I hope it happens for your sake, because you're going to be there. But they are showing off their LG OLED displays. And one of the things that they've decided to show off is the idea of having a sushi bar where the display shows up between you and the sushi chef, so you can see right through the display to see what he's doing, or be able to see what's on the display.
We saw an example of this from Panasonic. It wasn't in the electronics area. It was over in the medical area where they were doing the like experimental kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they were showing like a fireplace and different things, and it was really cool. I like the transparent. Those are the screens they've been taunting us with on The Expanse. If you've watched that, where they go out of their way to move the camera so that you can see both sides of it and that you can see through it. These are cool. This is obviously not for your living room. This isn't for, set up and watch a movie. Christopher Nolan definitely would not recommend you watching his movie on this, although I hear it might be more enjoyable if you can't see it.
They do have a one here where they said that they put the same display at the end of your bed, so you can actually watch TV from the edge of your bed. So it could be used in your house if necessary. But these are all still their demos, so we'll see what these products end up looking like. Last year we saw the roll-up displays. I remember
that
those
was a couple years ago, but yeah.
And we saw some of these. We saw some of these at CES last year.
Well, that's why I was saying it was Panasonic. It was over in the medical building. They had that in that experimental booth.
So, I mean, they make a lot more sense in this kind of a setting, right? Like in a commercial type environment. I don't imagine there's very many people that are going to want this in their homes. There's just no logical reason to do that. But store displays, that kind of stuff, it makes sense.
I could see this over a mirror for like the smart mirror stuff. But I mean, and this is something that it was bound to happen because OLED doesn't require a backlight because it creates its own each LED. So, you know, that black was just there for contrast. So, yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense in a commercial perspective. I don't see it making much sense in a consumer use. But you know, I mean, you can do the mirror thing. I mean, they're already doing like basically like one-way mirror type things where you can't see the TV when it's not on, but when it's on, you can see it. That's been around for a long time. That makes just as much sense. So I think, you know, this would be a very expensive thing to have in your home, and there's not a lot of logical reason to do it.
I'm going to replace.
Imagine a store window that becomes interactive. That makes sense, right? Like there's a lot of reasons to do it.
Want to replace all the windows in my house with these.
Oh, that won't cost anything at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would be just fine replacing all the windows with my houses with regular OLEDs. Like they don't have to be see. What's the point of seeing out?
Well,
when you can have it be whatever you want.
But here's the thing. I wanted people outside to be able to see it as well as me also be able to see it.
Okay.
Now, so if you put OLED TVs in your windows, are they facing in or facing out?
In. So I look out to what I want to see.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
I can be in space
out so that when they look in, it looks like they're looking into like the cabin from like Saw or something. It's like, what is he doing in that house? Okay.
That's the week's news, guys.
That would be fun.
All right. Well, normally this is the point where we thank those that support us on a regular basis via Patreon. And why would today be any different? To all of you that are supporters, you're awesome. You have purchased a little birdhouse in our souls. You have a home in our heart. Insert whatever sappy words you want. Either way, just know that we're grateful. For those of you that might be on the fence, you think, you know, what's in it for me? Other than our undying gratitude, you also get a custom RSS feed. So, you know, not everybody's able to join us live. Some people would like to listen to the podcast version, and maybe they would like it a little bit earlier than everybody else. Well, for as little as $1 a month, you can have your own custom RSS feed, and Patreon will deliver free of charge, no shipping and handling, no taxes above whatever your state steals from you via Patreon already. But we'll deliver it directly to the mobile device of your choice. Typically next day delivery. I think that's what we're guaranteeing right now. Next day delivery.
I hope so.
Yep. It better be, because otherwise I've been staying up till like midnight for no reason. But yeah, that's patreon.com/the VOD Squad. To the patrons, you are loved. All right. Something else I love, ranting and raving, but more the ranting. Alrighty, what do we got, guys? Thoughts, complaints, gripes? Everybody's pointing at Mike.
Yeah, Mike's in the pole position there.
Oh, okay. All right. So I've got a couple of rants. First of all, Google Docs. Seriously, at what point did you change the system so that my recommended or recent docs is just the most recent that I opened and doesn't include it when you guys opened it. Because I keep clicking on the wrong one because it's always been the day that shows up in the top left is the one that you guys opened recently today. And like a couple weeks ago, they changed it and I keep opening it. Today I opened it. I got all the articles open so I could start reading them. And I got like 2 articles in before I was like, wait, these are really, really familiar. Way too familiar. And I was like, oh, doggone it again. So Google, come on. Also, I have been watching a new show and I watched a new movie. So I want to rave about watching movies in my own home on the day they're released. And I did very much enjoy Wonder Woman 84. I thought it was really good. Definitely not as good as the first one, but still a very good movie, very enjoyable. It was a fun watch. Not as action packed as the first one, not as well done, but still good and still enjoyable. And being able to watch it in my own home was very nice. I liked that. And I expect that given that option, I will probably watch the majority of movies that way going forward. This is one where I really debated whether I wanted to pay $150 to rent out the theater. And kind of the deciding factor for me was simply that by the time I decided to do it, most of the time slots were taken. And so then I would have to like take a 10 o'clock PM time slot, and that's too late for my kids. So anyways, liked it, thought it was good. I also started watching, and I'm 2, maybe 3 episodes into Lovecraft Country. So obviously got the HBO Max, and I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's really interesting, and it's a pretty good show. I don't know how far into it I'll continue to enjoy it, but it's been very good up to this point. Yeah, it's good.
Very cool.
All right.
I guess I can go next. Yeah, I saw Wonder Woman 84 and I did not like it. No. Just so you guys know, spoiler-free review of Wonder Woman 84. It was it didn't feel very much like the feel of the movie was so different from the first one. The first one I loved. The first one was an amazing movie that I enjoyed a lot because what makes sense for me is that you have to have that buy-in for why a superhero can do a certain superhero thing. The first movie, they're Amazons. She's literally a god. Cool, I get it. That's cool. She doesn't really do anything too crazy other than she's super strong and fast after that. Cool. Then you have this movie, which doesn't sell it right, if you ask me. And everything that happens in that movie, as far as Wonder Woman is concerned, every single thing that she does, they really don't. They don't do the proper work to sell it to make me believe that she's able to do the things she ends up doing. That being said, I really enjoyed the villain, Pedro Pascal's character, as the world's worst salesman. I actually liked his character. I really loved that, and the crazy antics they had with that. I really actually enjoyed how that went.
That's the guy from Narcos, right?
Yes, I believe he is in Narcos. Okay. Yes. Yeah. You wouldn't recognize him because he doesn't have a mustache apparently. So
he was also in Game of Thrones too, I believe.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Oberon.
So so I actually liked his character, and I liked the concept of what they did, and also the other villain in the movie is Cheetah, and the character who they properly define how he is able to, how she is able to turn into what she turns into. They do it correctly. They take all the necessary steps to basically sell you on the idea of her literally turning.
Did she get bitten by a radioactive cheetah?
That would be awesome, but no.
Well, that's always the way you get bitten by a radioactive something. Or
see, I would put that better as a better description of how she got her powers than how Wonder Woman got her powers in this movie.
So what I'll say is, I can't give any credit to anything you just said.
What?
So here's my issue with your statement, and this is me coming from a comic book fan that has read the comics and
sure.
been, everything that she did made sense to me, and really the fact that she didn't do more or have more power in the first one made far less sense. Wonder Woman is, in the comics, nearly a match for Superman. Like side by side on powers and abilities and stuff. So it's kind of a, to me, I wasn't taken aback at all when she could do anything in the show that she did. And I liked how she learned her powers through the show. That's okay. I won't give any more spoilers.
No. So let's go ahead real briefly. Superman in the movie Man of Steel, they better explained his powers in that one than they did in this movie for her. I'm sorry, they just didn't drop the ball. Now, moving on. Let's go ahead and move on to The Mandalorian season 2. I did watch it over the weekend, and I enjoyed the season very much. It was pretty nice, except for that ending. I'm sorry, I did not like it. Again, they basically decided to do something with that. I'm trying to be spoiler free, although at this point, basically everybody's spoiled.
I let me just say, with all the money that Disney has, couldn't they? If only there was a studio out there that does nothing but deep fakes. If only they could have hired, someone like that to make that thing believable. It just looked terrible.
So no. So my problem with the ending was that it's essentially it's not necessarily the problem with which you're talking about.
No. I'm not saying that's the problem. I'm just saying that's a problem.
So my problem with the ending was that they had this villain that in the first one showed up in like the very last episode of the first season, who was like, oh my goodness, who's this guy? He seems like he knows what he's doing. He seems like he's really good. And then in this one, whatever. You fight him. He just talks a lot. I'm sorry. He doesn't seem that. He seems like he's more annoying than anything to me. I don't know. I did not like him as a villain. He just didn't feel like a villain to me. He just felt like a guy who, like, I know as much as you. Assume I know everything. So I'm sneaky.
You never watched Breaking Bad, did you?
No, I'd never watched it.
Because everybody's going into this show looking at him as Gus Fring. Gus Fring was a terrifying, basically same character, just one's in space, one's selling chicken with meth on the side.
Resmed said that the character Grand Moff whatever Gideon he could be replaced by Grand Admiral Thrawn, and I would agree that could be good. Grand Admiral Thrawn in the original trilogy books is pretty awesome.
Admiral Prawn.
Is he?
So obviously, I mean, throwing out spoilers from a few episodes ago, right?
Sure.
And I guess kind of at this point we're on full on spoiler mode. If you haven't seen the end of season 2, then just turn it off now because you're probably already pissed at us. That said,
they're gonna be pissed at me. It's fine.
Thrawn seems like a likely replacement. I do agree with that, and hopefully, I agree. We're talking Timothy Zahn style, which honestly, I mean, the one in Rebels was a fairly reasonable representation of the Timothy Zahn Grand Admiral Thrawn character.
Okay.
At least I think. But what I got to say is this is the day to disagree with Matt, in my opinion.
Sure.
I'm about to back him up 100% on everything, but you guys won't get to me.
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to say about
and I have some things to say as well.
I just want to say one more thing about the Mandalorian. If this plan is to make it so they can move on with the Mandalorian story and not the Jedi story, I'm okay with getting over this hump and then moving on. If they get back to this and this becomes, I thought this was going to be the Star Wars story without a lightsaber. Come on, guys. I don't know.
So it's a Star Wars. Oh, I guess the lightsaber showed up at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say,
swords.
I think that what we will find is, you have a couple of episodes where they show up. And that'll continue, but I expect season 3 will have little to no Baby Yoda / Jedi.
Well, it should. That
it'll
story's
have some,
over.
Occasional crossovers with Ahsoka and others. So I think that it'll show up occasionally, but it is going to be predominantly, again, the Mandalorian out doing his thing, and Baby Yoda is going to get a little bit of distance because I think that, first of all, the Mandalorian stands alone in the show quality and stuff. Baby Yoda is an awesome perk to the show, but the story itself holds its own, and he holds his own as a character. It doesn't have to have the super cute Baby Yoda there. And I think that that's what we're going to find in season 3 is very little, if any, Baby Yoda, and not much in the way of Jedi, and I think it's going to be great. I very much look forward to it, and I agree. I expect Thrawn will probably be dominant in the Ahsoka story, with Del Noche's comment, but I do think that you could see Thrawn kind of pushing, pulling the strings in the background and stuff. But
let's let Jimmy to pipe in. He's only been trying to for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. All right. So I'll chime in on those two. The Mandalorian. Loved the second season. I thought the ending was great. So really enjoyed the ending. I mean, I thought it brought some. It brings the story together, because remember, we're living in the Star Wars universe, right? So you've got to show a little continuity in there. Right?
We're living in the Star Trek universe as established by the TV show Night Court, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah. And then I too over the weekend saw the Wonder Woman movie. I'm somewhere between Matt and Mike on this. To me, and since we're talking about Star Wars, to me the original Wonder Woman movie here was kind of like The Empire Strikes Back, and the latest Wonder Woman was more like the first episode, right? So I was
in the new Wonder Woman, who was the Jar Jar?
Who was Jar Jar?
So, well, meaning on how good the show was, right? It was it was okay to watch, but I was a little underwhelmed with this Wonder Woman.
The only reason I caught any of Wonder Woman was because someone told me that there was a mid-credit scene that I could not miss.
It's my fault.
We'll get to that. But so I went on my Roku. They will not let you do any skipping, so I had to literally fast forward through the entire movie. So I saw the entire movie in frame chunks, and from what I saw, it didn't look interesting at all, which reinforced my desire not to watch it. And then I watched the mid-credit scene and went, why did I need to watch this?
Yeah.
It's my fault.
I mean, there's some parts of it that's, that's pretty good, but overall it's a little underwhelming.
Yeah. And then my thought about The Mandalorian. Number one, I am still super disappointed. I have been since I found out The Mandalorian is not a guy that transforms into a car. But after season 2, I uphold my complaint from last year that the episodes are either too short or the story is too rushed, because everything just feels so rushed. It's like, oh, we got to do this. Oh, we're done. Got to get to credits. And I can't really get into it because it's just too, it just feels too rushed, the pace. It's like they're skipping over stuff that should be there, is what it feels like. Like a Reader's Digest version of a novel.
Yeah, I'll concede to that. There, at least on some episodes, I do agree that things seem to be a little rushed. Sometimes you go from, how is this show going to end in 5 or 10 minutes? And then it ends and you're like,
well, and that's, I mean, if you look at
really
it, it's a 45-minute show. At least 10 of that is credits and opening. So you're talking to 30-minute. You don't do 30-minute dramas. They don't do that for a reason. Dramas are typically an hour. 45 when you take out the commercials. But still, most dramas would take, they're putting into one episode what could be or should be an entire series arc, in my opinion. But I mean, that's fine. And I again, I'm not the target demographic. The show that I am a target demographic for is called Brassic. I just found it on Hulu the other day. It's a British show. Did anybody here watch Preacher?
I did not.
Nobody watched Preacher?
No.
Oh, man, you guys. Okay, I was going to say, if you watch Preacher and you like Cassidy, he was the vampire character, probably my absolute favorite character in the show. He's the main star and creator of this show, Brassic. And it's basically the same character, just not a vampire. His damage isn't due to being turned. They're small-time criminals in a small British or English town, just always screwing stuff up. It's really funny. It's downright hilarious at times. And while also dealing with real world, real life issues, relationships and mental illnesses and stuff. So it's a nice balance, but I recommend it. It's great. I watched the first episode not knowing what it was, and I was like, this dude looks familiar, and then I realized who it was. And next thing I know, I blinked and I was done with season 1. I'm working on season 2 now because they're half-hour episodes, and British series are typically like 5 or 6 episodes long. So, found out the season 3 is coming up soon. So, check it out. And if you haven't, watch Preacher. What's wrong with you? There's absolutely no reason anybody should not have watched Preacher at this point.
What streaming service can I watch it on? It looks like it'd be
I
right
don't
up my
know.
alley.
It was on AMC. It should be everywhere now.
Yeah, 4 seasons are on Hulu, looks like.
Okay, it should be on
All
Hulu.
right.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out because
Preacher was one
this
of the greatest.
does look right up my alley.
I mean, they covered it on Spoiler in Time for like 4 years. But all right. Well, on that note, I think that brings us to the end of this distraction we typically, jokingly call a show. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. If you're watching this after the fact, come join us sometime. We're live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central, here on Twitch. But this week, and this week only, we will be live twice. Yes, that is right. We will be back tomorrow afternoon. And I keep bringing up the page to look at the schedule, and I keep forgetting to open it. We will be live. Where did it go? The VOD Squad. 6:30 Eastern or 3:30 Pacific. Here on Twitch. You can check us out right here on our channel, or go to the New Year's Eve Streamathon page, which we will have linked at the bottom of our channel by tomorrow. We're doing a 24-hour, I guess it's more than 24 hours. We're celebrating every New Year's Day celebration around the world. We are proud to be participating with all the other streamers, raising money for Extra Life. Come join us. It's going to be fun. There will always be somebody streaming in that 27-hour period. If you don't have any place to be, well, that's where you should be. The whole point is nobody should have to spend New Year's Eve alone. And
you can watch at least one of us drinking tomorrow.
Absolutely. Historically, Matt has gotten a little tipsy. Tipsy enough that his real identity slipped out in the form of dialogue with Justin Robert Young.
Oh, you have to remind him of that, don't you?
I do. I got to find that video. That was great.
Yeah, okay.
Everything starts here in just a few hours. It's like I think 3:30 a.m. our time.
1:30 in the morning. Ritual Misery starting it. My goodness, guys.
There you go.
1:30. I mean, shoot, I should probably just show up long enough to say thanks for starting it and then go to bed.
But all right. Well, everybody, stick around for the post show. Head on over to tvs.showbot.tv. You get to vote on those titles we've been submitting. I don't know if any of you have submitted them, but we've been submitting them throughout the show. So we need someone to validate. We need validation. tvs.showbot.tv. And that's it. I'm going to shut this down. Thanks, everybody. We will catch you all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.